Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking into the story of EON Reality. It's quite a journey, 26 years.
Yeah, quite a history there.
We've gathered a bunch of material on how they've evolved, and, our mission here is really to pull out the key stuff for you, how they went from being like VR pioneers to what they now call an AI-first company.
And focusing on results, right? Measurable outcomes in education and careers.
Exactly. So think of this as your fast track to understanding a pretty big shift in learning tech. We'll touch on their early immersive work, how mobile tech changed things, their move to no-code tools, AVR, that's augmented virtual reality, and of course, the big AI integration now. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. It's fascinating because they didn't just, follow the trends. It feels like they were often anticipating them, using tech to really change how people learn and build skills.
Okay, let's rewind. Way back, 1999, the founders, Dan Legerskar and Mass W. Sanson, they had this idea, this vision.
Right. The core idea was that you learn faster, better, through doing, through simulations, immersive experiences.
And this wasn't just a guess, was it? They were looking at those really sophisticated high-end training simulators.
Precisely. They saw clear proof in things like flight simulators, complex industrial training. These things worked. They accelerated learning, definitely deepened understanding. But,
Big but.
yeah, a huge but. The hardware was astronomically expensive back then. You're talking millions, sometimes tens of millions, for the really advanced setups.
Wow.
And making the content, that was another mountain to climb. Needed expert programmers, lots of time, lots of resources, very complex.
So powerful idea, but like massive practical challenges for widespread use. Their ambition from the start, though, was to break down those barriers, right? Make it accessible.
That was the goal, to get this kind of powerful learning out there across different industries, not just in those super high-end niche applications.
And then came the mobile revolution, early 2010s. That seems like a real turning point for them.
It really was a breakthrough for scalability, actually. It's kind of amazing how quickly they saw the potential in smartphones.
Yeah, it's easy to forget now, but think about the changes then. Suddenly, you had powerful processors in your pocket, much better graphics, sensors for motion tracking, AR capabilities popping up, good cameras.
All integrated.
All integrated.
Yeah.
And suddenly, the hardware needed for, maybe not the highest end, but decent XR experiences became much, much more affordable and available. It sort of democratized the access part.
It absolutely did. It cracked the hardware cost problem, or at least lowered the barrier significantly. But the content creation challenge, that didn't just disappear.
Still needed to make the actual learning experience.
Exactly. And that's where their next big strategic move came in, shifting towards no-code development with EON Creator AVR. Remember, augmented and virtual reality.
Okay, this feels important, like a real aha moment. Because instead of needing coding skills...
Right. They built a platform with, an intuitive interface, drag and drop, big libraries of 3D models and assets you could just pull in, templates to get you started.
So the power shifted.
Totally. It empowered the subject matter experts, the teachers, the trainers, the people who actually knew the material but weren't programmers. They could suddenly build their own immersive lessons.
That's huge for scaling up. You're not bottlenecked by developer resources anymore.
Absolutely vital. It meant educators could translate their knowledge directly into these engaging, interactive modules. Much faster, much more widely. It probably opened up whole new areas where this could be used.
Okay, so that brings us closer to today. And the big focus now, AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is they were playing with AI before it became the huge mainstream thing it is now, right?
That's a really key point. They didn't just jump on the generative AI bandwagon last year. They started integrating AI concepts earlier. Like the AI assistant they had a few years back.
What does that do?
It was like a virtual guide, an avatar within the experience that could offer real-time help, kind of a show-and-tell guide that laid the groundwork. Now it's evolved into something they call AI-ready. And get this, it can apparently generate a whole XR learning experience, pretty comprehensive stuff, in under 80 seconds.
80 seconds? Seriously?
Yeah, using multiple AI agents, it can build the 3D environment, do the text-to-speech narration, set up knowledge portals, even create 360 review simulations. It's pretty remarkable technology.
Wow. Okay, that kind of speed and automation, you can see how that fuels their shift towards being, as you said, outcome-driven. It's not just about cool tech anymore.
Exactly. It's about, does this actually improve skills? Does it help someone get a job? Does it support starting a business? Real-world results.
So they've built out specific platforms for these outcomes.
Right. They call it their comprehensive solution suite. So you've got EON-XR, that's mainly for skill development, immersive training, then Career Compass focused on job placement, career guidance,
Makes sense.
Entrepreneur Guide for helping start businesses, Vibe Coding, which is fascinating, for democratizing development, and the AI Academy, which sort of pulls it all together as a holistic education solution.
Tell me a bit more about vibe coding, natural language programming.
Yeah, the idea is you describe what you want the application to do in plain English, and the AI handles the coding, provides mentorship. They seem to be targeting it particularly at places with high unemployment to give people digital creation skills. It's a really interesting application.
Very powerful. And the AI Academy integrates all this.
Basically, yes. It's their vision for like a third way of education, blending traditional methods with online immersive AI-powered tools. And they have this EON MCP AI Academy Builder. MCP is their central platform, which lets schools or organizations quickly customize and roll out these environments. Cuts down deployment time hugely.
And driving all this, I assume, is data.
Absolutely. The EON Data Flywheel and EON Analytics, they're constantly collecting data on how people interact, how they're learning, tracking progress, even career outcomes down the line.
Which feeds back into improving everything.
Exactly. It creates this continuous improvement loop. They can see what works, personalize experiences, predict learning paths, really focusing on those measurable outcomes.
And looking ahead, what's next?
Well, they're talking about even smarter AI mentors, maybe with emotional intelligence, an agent economy, like lots of specialized AIs working together, more industry-specific AI solutions, even better XR content generation, and just generally strengthening that whole ecosystem around their central platform.
You know, it really ties it all together, thinking back to the start tackling those $50 million simulators.
Yeah.
And now having this AI-driven ecosystem that works on a smartphone. That quote from Dan Lajerskar about democratizing education really hits home when you see that whole arc.
It's a powerful narrative, isn't it? Shows real adaptability, foresight, and sticking to that core mission of making knowledge transfer accessible and effective.
So wrapping up our deep dive on EON Reality, the big takeaway for me is this remarkable evolution. From VR pioneers focused on the tech itself to an AI-first company totally centered on delivering tangible, measurable results in education and careers. It really shows how technology can be harnessed to, democratize knowledge and empower people.
It definitely does. And it leaves us with a thought, perhaps for you listening. Considering EON Reality's path, where else might we see this kind of AI-first transformation? What other fields, learning domains, could shift from just information delivery to focusing squarely on real-world impact and measurable outcomes?
Something to think about. The potential for AI and immersive tech to reshape learning and work. It's definitely exciting.